Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. Now for this one, since it's my 400th video I'm doing for you today, I want to give a big thank you to all of those of you who've contributed to the channel thus far. It's been really cool to see something that I started just as a small hobby kind of grow into be something that's actually quite popular, and I've got a good following with it. So a big thank you to all of those of you who've contributed to the channel, be it through commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing, whatever you've done. A huge thank you. I've met some really cool people doing this, so it's been really humbling to actually get such a nice response to all my videos. But with it being my 400th review as well, I want to dedicate it to a very special lady in my life, and that is Miss Michiko Ozaki, and I'm sure you will see her do a beer review with me at some point in the fairly near future. But for that reason, I actually decided to choose a Japanese beer as the beer for today, and this is a very cool one because it's a one-off brew, so I'm not sure any of you are actually going to be able to find this beer to taste for yourself, but I thought it was a really cool one to do for this review. And my first beer review actually was Japanese as well. I did Kirin Ichiban back in the day, so quite cool to be returning to Japan for this one. So we're going to go to Tamamura Honten, who are to the northwest of Tokyo actually, and this beer is called the Far East, and it's a barrel-aged Imperial House IPA, and it's done in collaboration with the Chichibu Distillery as well. And whiskey is actually very popular in Japan. I was quite surprised at that, and some of the Japanese whiskey is really awesome. As a Scotsman, I hope you'll take my word for it. I know a good whiskey when I see one, and the Japanese stuff is excellent, as is the sake. You've got a really good selection of beer and wine and sake and whiskey and stuff over there, so that's another reason to visit Japan. You've got an awesome selection of booze there, in addition to a really just culturally fascinating country, so go and check out Japan. But for this beer review as well, I actually have to give a shout out to Keats Huff at the Tami Bar in Namba in Osaka. He supplied me with this beer, but it's a really nice craft beer bar, does Japanese things and also some foreign stuff as well. So yeah, definitely go and check them out. I also have to give a shout out to Lee Katayama in this video as well, who's my good friend from Osaka. He showed me the ropes in Osaka when I first went there, and he showed me all the cool craft beer venues as well. So a big thank you to Lee for that, and keep an eye on the Tami Bar's Facebook link, which is in the description for you below. They're going to rename it Epic Beer and Chili, so keep an eye out. Very nice bar, like I say. But as is usual with my beer reviews, then I'll take you through a very kind of brief history of the company. It's quite an interesting one, this, but if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward a few minutes. The brewery website's in the description for you below, along with a link to the other reviews that I'll do from these guys in the fairly near future. So anyway, Tamamura Honten is based in Yamanouchi in Nagano Prefecture in Japan. It's a few hundred kilometers to the northwest of Tokyo, like I said to you. But this area is particularly well known for ski slopes and hot springs, so a really cool place to go if you want a kind of nice sort of chalet holiday in Japan actually. And some of the pictures of this place are beautiful, so it really is worth checking out. But the Tamamura Honten company began brewing sake in 1805, and they recently began brewing beer under the name Shiga Kogen beer, and they also produce wine as well. And if you think about my reviews I've done of Hitachino as well, this is actually a very common thing for craft breweries to evolve from sake breweries as well, and this is Hitachino, I guess, are another one of these, but this is a very kind of common rite of birth, if you like, for craft breweries in Japan. But the head brewer and company director of Tamamura Honten is Sato Eigo, and he joined the company in 2003. But the idea to brew beer came when the numbers of skiers visiting the resort actually began to dwindle, and in May 2004 they applied for their brewing license, and they received it just 4 months later. But they bought their brewing equipment from another nearby brewery that went defunct, and they trained for only a week at another brewery in Kyushu, and this was just before they began their own commercial activities, and they only had a consultant for help. So these guys really started brewing craft beer on a whim, but it's turned out very well for them. They're one of the most popular craft breweries in Japan, and they really want to kind of promote themselves worldwide as well, and that was the reason behind choosing the name Tamamura Honten for some of their beers rather than Shiga Kogen, because this meant it would be G beer, which is a local variety, but they wanted their beers to appeal worldwide, so this is why they chose the name Tamamura Honten. But Tamamura Honten are interesting though, because they produce their own hops, sake rice, barley, buckwheat and blueberries, and they actually have their own hop variety as well, which is called Shinsu Waze, and this is a hybrid between the Czech Sats hop and a local variety too. It's a sort of mix of these two, but they originally used it as a bittering hop for lagers, but now they use it as an aroma hop as well, which gives some of their beers a really interesting flavour, and I think it is actually in this beer, so you will probably find some interesting flavours if some of you do manage to get a hold of it. But the brewery also have 2 tasting rooms as well, which are called Tepper rooms in Japan, and one of these is actually at the brewery and the other one is at the Shiga Kogen Ichinose Hotel's Chalet Shiga. So do go and check them out if you find yourself in the area. I should also mention with these guys, I'll let you have a little look at the bottle art on this one. All the bottle art on this one is quite cool. It's designed by Tanaka Noriyuki, and you can find his little website linked in the Tamamura Honten website too. I've put the translated version of it for you below as well. So it's not perfect English, but you do get the gist of what it's saying. But you can see there is the Tamamura Honten dragon, and there's the Chichibu Distillery's oak leaves down there. So very nice, and it's actually got a kind of interesting fabric. And I will keep this bottle since it's my 400th review. And that is the standard Tamamura Honten bottle cap on this guy. So it's a 13% ABV Imperial House IPA. It's meant to be a very, very nice beer. So without further ado, let's actually get on with the tasting of this guy. To tell you a little bit about the Chichibu Distillery just before we open it, the distillery is based in the city of Chichibu in Saitama Prefecture in Japan. This is also to the northwest of Tokyo as well, but it's a bit closer to the city. But it was founded by Ichiro Akuto in 2004, and it was operational from 2008. And apparently this was one of the first it was the first new Japanese distillery since 1973. And they are actually very popular in Japan too. And as I told you at the start of the video, Japanese whiskey really is awesome, so it's definitely worth checking out, and I hope you'll take my word for that as a Scotsman. But without further ado, let's get on with the tasting of this guy. This is a beer that I've wanted to try ever since I got it, so let's get on with this. So as you can see, a nice smoky opening there as I got it, just a little bit of smoke coming out of this guy, but we'll get it out and into the glass. So as you can see, it's pouring a kind of nice murky-ish brown colour actually, a nice sort of, definitely a more kind of coppery colour actually, not getting much of a head off this, just a kind of half finger of a white head there, which is quite cool. So I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the colour of this guy. You can really smell the fruits off this guy as you're pouring it, really interesting actually. But as you can see, I'll bring up the light and let you see the colour of this guy properly. It's a nice kind of dark, sort of reddy coppery amber colour actually. Kind of maybe bordering on a sort of mahogany coloured beer. There's a half finger of a frothy white head there that is kind of just coming to be a thin foamy layer, but it looks really, really nice actually. In terms of carbonation, there's a little bit of it just sticking to the side of the glass, but a few smaller bubbles going up towards the bottom of the head there, which is now just a foamy layer. So not much of a head from this guy. Maybe I should have given it a bit more of an aggressive pour, but it looks very nice. It's not transparent at all. If I put my fingers behind it, you can't see that there at all. You can't see them through it, so not transparent in the slightest. So in terms of the aroma here, it actually smells very, very boozy, but that's what you'd expect with a kind of 13% beer. Very, very boozy smell indeed with this. Definite smell of whiskey, as you would expect with a kind of barrel aged thing, but the Japanese whiskey smells different to the Scottish whiskey actually. But you've got a huge caramel malt kind of underlining this one. It's a very sharp caramel malt actually, but you've got a nice whiskey element to it. Like I say, there's a definite, it's quite a hard thing to describe whiskey, but because it is a very distinct aroma. But it doesn't, it just smells like it smells like a kind of generic whiskey rather than a kind of specific whiskey or citrusy whiskey or whatever. But you've got a nice big caramel malt base with this one. But you've got a big woody note to it as well, as you would expect. And if you take a deeper kind of smell of it like that, you can really smell the kind of vanilla that you usually get from barrel aging. But there's a definite kind of citrusy element to it as well, and some tropical fruits too. You can pick up the sort of sour grapefruit notes actually. It might be peaches in there, but you can definitely pick up a kind of dusty pine resin actually out of this guy too. So it's a really interesting aroma. So if you do by chance manage to get a hold of this beer, definitely have a look at it. It's definitely just have a good smell of it. It smells absolutely beautiful. But a really, really nice looking beer. So without further ado, let's give it a taste. So this is the Far East Barrel Aged Imperial House IPA from Tamamura Honten in Japan. Cheers. Now that is absolutely beautiful. You've got a huge kind of caramel malt base with this one. There's a definite whiskey element to it as well. Usually barrel aging just kind of gives you a nice sort of vanilla and woody flavour, but this guy definitely actually has a kind of tint of whiskey in the flavour of this one, but you do have the kind of woody elements in the malt base too, and the nice vanilla there. It's a really interesting blend of flavours, this guy. But yeah, in the middle of the mouth you're getting a nice big caramel malt base, and with a nice whiskey kind of tint to it, and you've got the really nice woody flavours in there as well. The vanilla is actually quite subdued. It's more of a kind of sort of oaky flavour that you have in this guy with the whiskey tint there. The caramel is actually quite dark and quite roasted in this one, but that's usually what you get when you've got an ABV over about 12 or so. You start to get that really dark kind of alcohol feel to it. It is quite a boozy beer, this. There is a definite fruity character to this as well. It's not. It's actually drowned out quite a bit by the malt presence and the boozy presence of the beer. But there is. I really want to say there is a little bit of grapefruit just around the edge of the tongue. There's a definite kind of mild grapefruit and maybe slightly peachy flavour just around the edges of the palate here. It's a very interesting blend of flavours, this beer. You feel a little oily bubble moving towards the front of the tongue there, and even though it is kind of overpowered a little bit by a sort of whiskey and caramel mix, there is, as I say, a definite kind of mild grapefruit there. And usually, it's not a hop-forward beer. This is about as far as you're going to get on the malty scale, but it's maybe about 1, 2 or 3 on the hoppy scale at the same time. So it's quite interesting, but it is hugely malt dominated. There is a definite kind of grapefruit sourness to it, that sort of sour flavour that you get from the grapefruit. I want to say there's a little bit of a kind of sharper sort of peachy or apricot flavour in there as well. Sort of maybe it is more apricot than peach, but there's definitely another fruit in there along with the grapefruit. It's very nice. It's a really interesting blend of flavour. It's quite hard to pick out all the different elements actually. Yeah. There's a definite citrusy presence in there as well, maybe a little bit of orangey element in there too, but I think that Shinsu-wazi hop definitely is here, because there is an element of aromatic character to it as well. It's not quite pine resin as I thought in the aroma, but there is a definite kind of aromatic, and you are getting a little bit of a dryness around the edge of the tongue as well, which is what you expect from the hoppy character, and there is a kind of lingering sort of dryish, grassy, aromatic-y bitterness there too, which is quite interesting. But there is a definite fruit element which kind of just sticks to it just comes out as you have the liquid in your mouth. There's a definite grapefruit and slightly apricot-y flavour there too. Probably a bit of citrus, but pardon me, a very interesting beer nonetheless actually. But yeah, it's really cool. It's definitely malt forward, this one. And the aftertaste, it really is a kind of mix of the sort of woody vanilla, caramel and sort of whiskey flavours that you're actually getting in this one. It's a really dark, quite roasted caramel, but it's very boozy actually. There's a lot of alcohol warmth comes out this beer, but what else would you expect when it's 13%? Very interesting, this actually. Usually it's stouts and porters and stuff you come across that are being barrel aged like this, but to have an Imperial IPA barrel aged is quite interesting. I think this is the first beer of its kind that I've actually reviewed on this channel that's like that, but very cool to be able to do it for you as my 400th review. But in terms of the mouthfeel, this guy is definitely full bodied. The carbonation is very smooth. I don't think there's even a little prickle off of it, but it's got a nice big oily mouthfeel, this one. It's quite sweet, but at the same time it's quite dark. And the flavours of this guy are just beautiful. It's almost like a sticky mouthfeel. It's a very, very sweet beer, but there's a really nice alcohol warmth to this guy, and just a teeny bit of bitterness around the edges of the palate. You've got a huge blanket of that big barrel-aged malty feel with the whiskey and everything. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful beer. So yeah, if you do happen to come across this beer, definitely check it out. They might rerun it. It might well be a very popular one, but at the time that I'm doing this review, which is the 3rd of May 2015, it is a one-off brew. They might do it again, you never know. But it's a beautiful, beautiful beer, and it's been a real honour to be able to do this as my 400th beer review. So I'll take a last little sip and toast to Michiko Ozaki. Big thank you, missus. But yeah, As always, I thank you for watching my beer reviews. Please comment in the section below and let me know your own thoughts on this beer if you do happen to have tried it, which is maybe a little bit unlikely. But I thank you again for watching my beer reviews, and please like, subscribe, share, comment, all the usual YouTube stuff. Again, I thank you for your support over these 400 videos that I've done for you already. A huge honour, and I will catch you soon with more beer reviews. Cheers.